Good morning, everybody. My name is Gabe Castano. I'm with the City of Austin Capital Delivery Services Group, and I want to thank you all for attending this open house on tunneling projects that we are doing for Austin Water. The Kane Way, Steve Vargas, myself, and Craig McCulloch are the project team that are dealing with these two projects that we're going to talk about this morning. So thank you for attending this open house. We appreciate it. Next slide. So just some general housekeeping. We do have a chat box where you can provide feedback or questions that are just related to the presentation. If you have any technical questions, we are going to be providing some emails at the end of the presentation where you can provide additional feedback and questions. These two accounts for the projects, there will be two separate ones, and we will allow you to send questions to these, and we will do research to answer them. And the accounts will be open until July 31st, 2024. So after that period, then we will no longer be utilizing those email accounts to receive any questions. So just keep that in mind. And also, as another housekeeping note, this meeting is being recorded so that it can be provided to other contractors that would like to see it in the future. So thank you. Next slide. So I'm going to turn it over to Kane Way, the project sponsor for Williamson Creek Wastewater Interceptor project. Good morning,
Great.
Kane.
Thanks, Gabe. And thanks everyone for attending. We're really excited. We have two exciting tunneling projects with Austin Water that we'll share with you today. My name's Kane Way. I'm with Austin Water. We're the sponsoring department. I'm the project sponsor on this. I do see that there's someone saying that there's no content being shown, so you may need to exit and rejoin the meeting, and we'll let you back in. I believe we do have the slides being shown on the screen, so if there's other folks that can't see it, let us know and we can try to address that. Back to Williamson Creek Wastewater Interceptor, Craig McCulloch with Capital Delivery Services Division in the City of Austin. He's the project manager for this project. Next slide, please. We wanted to give a brief project overview. On the right side, you can see a map of the overall alignment for this tunnel project. And so the Williamson Creek Wastewater Interceptor project is over 18,000, nearly 19,000 linear feet of 72-inch diameter gravity wastewater interceptor sewer, and we're installing it with a two-pass tunneling method. This is located in South Austin. You can see at the bottom right-hand part of the screen is the launch shaft, the shaft one, along with the proposed odor control site. That's located near Pleasant Valley Road and William Cannon Drive. The tunnel will then sort of follow the alignment up Williamson Creek. You can see in the gray alignment there. It's a little hard because that does overlap with some of the existing interceptor. And so there is an existing wastewater interceptor of 36 and 42-inch wastewater pipe that's there, and that's planned to be replaced with this new tunnel. Project drivers for this project are to increase capacity. The old interceptor is undersized based on growth that we're seeing today and projected in the future. It's also old. It was installed back in the 60s, I believe, and so we're replacing that sort of aging infrastructure with this new tunnel. And then with that, altogether sort of reduces the potential for future SSOs or sanitary sewer overflows to help protect the quality of the creek and the environment nearby. Just to pause on this map a little bit, so you can see there's a faint red dashed line. That's the existing wastewater interceptor alignment. The green and the tunnel is shown in the gray line as well. And that ends at South First Street. And then we do have sort of construction access areas and workspace areas that are highlighted. This is a map for public-facing audiences, of course. And this map is also located on our website, but we'll touch on that a little bit later. So you don't have to feel the urgency to capture your screenshot or anything. We'll have this provided to you after. Next slide, please. Some of the major project components for the Williamson Creek Wastewater Interceptor is, again, excavation and support of 18,800 linear feet of a two-pass tunnel through rock formations of Taylor Group, Pilot Knob Group, and Austin Group. With that tunnel will be an installation of 18,600 linear feet of 72-inch fiberglass reinforced polymer concrete pipe, or polymer mortar pipe, sorry, FRP pipe, and then 200 linear feet of 84-inch to tie into the existing tunnel there. There will be 6 operations and maintenance shafts finished with large diameter precast polymer concrete manholes. About 10 connection shafts finished with fiberglass manholes. And this will be to allow for tie-ins and reconnections of the existing local collection system into the new tunnel. And then 1 downstream connection shaft with a structure on the 84-inch Williamson Creek tunnel. So that's sort of that 200 linear feet of 84-inch tie-in that I was referencing. The tunnel is anticipated or proposed to be about 40 to 60 feet deep, just depending on where you are. Those are the sort of depths that we're looking at. Next slide. Some other major project components aside from the tunnel is the pipeline installation of these cutover reconnections I was mentioning. So we do have upwards of 20 or so different cutover reconnections that we have to make to provide service to the local sewer lines. There's a combination of construction methods from open cut and various sizes from 8-inch to 48-inch, as well as jack and bore propositions for jack and bore construction for 12-inch and 54-inch lines. And this includes furnishing the manholes, bypass pumping, and other utility adjustments. We also wanted to highlight there's 2 large vortex insert structures that'll be used to, take flow from a higher elevation to a lower in the same manhole. So please be aware of that. There's also included in the scope is removal and abandonment of existing wastewater pipelines and manholes in the creek. So you can see in this photo on the right-hand side, that the existing interceptor as well as the existing wastewater laterals that tie into the interceptor often are exposed, or the encasement is exposed, or we have exposed manholes. So with the proper removal of these abandoned infrastructure, we want to go in and clean those up sort of so the creek can sort of be restored. And so that's included in the project scope as well. I mentioned earlier there is a new biological odor control facility that we're proposing. That'll be on the southeast end of the project as well. This will be a new odor control facility for the tunnel. And with that is a required rain garden insulation as well due to the impervious cover that's being added. On the upstream portion of the project, there's a section of cured in place pipes, so CIPP pipe rehab. Some of the existing interceptor will stay in place. And so it's about 2,700 linear feet of 36-inch concrete pipe that's existing that'll stay. And we're including a CIPP rehab of that as well. And then finally, a large amount of environmental site restoration, seeding, tree plantings, things of that sort in the riparian areas, and as well as offsite for tree plantings to satisfy our tree mitigation requirements. Since most of this work is happening within the creeks, we are desiring to do a proper site restoration of that as well. Next slide. Some other construction considerations for this project. Like I mentioned, the project is located primarily within Williamson Creek, and so there are a large use of easements on private property as well as parkland, and most of that access is not paved, and so we'll have to factor that in to get into the site for construction, as well as abandonment of some of the existing infrastructure that we're taking out. There's also a good amount of community involvement that we've sort of garnered for this project, as well as heightened attention of use of parkland and certain buyout properties, of historical watershed buyout properties. And so there is a certain public perception that we're trying to work and partner with the community here to improve the infrastructure. But this creek is located in sort of, there's neighborhoods adjacent, apartment complexes and buildings adjacent to the creek and the work sites. So that's just something that we want to point attention to. Along with that, there's some other public projects nearby, things like storm drain improvement projects, trail projects. And so we've coordinated during the design phase to sort of factor these in, factor in restoration of any impacted projects. And we've tried our best to not affect any timing of those projects, but there is a chance that some projects may occur simultaneously, though we don't anticipate any major conflicts, major issues with the schedules of those other projects. Lastly here, we've coordinated with the Homeless Strategy Office and the Austin Police Department for relocations of homeless groups that are located at the creeks. So there is certain homeless populations that are located overlapping with the work site or with the entry access points. And so we've outlined a process, a procedure, and a strategy to coordinate with these other groups that may help with relocating the homeless groups. But that's something to consider as well for, safety and staging of equipment, things of that sort. That there are homeless groups located nearby, though we're hoping to coordinate as best we can with these other groups. Next slide. Here's a timeline for our project. We're currently in final permitting stages right now and anticipate that to occur throughout the end of this year. And then a request for competitive sealed proposals is anticipated to be released later this year or sometime in 2025. And then with that construction, we're planning to begin in 2026 with an estimated total duration of 4 years. Next slide. And here's the website I was referring to. It's www.austintexas.gov/WCI. And on that site, it's public facing. It has project details, maps, and exhibits that we've shared today as well as in the past. We have past presentations on there, and this presentation will also be uploaded on that website. One thing we're really excited about is sort of a virtual site visit. We've flown a drone over most, if not all, of the sort of surface access points, the cutover connections, the shaft site locations. We've flown a drone over during the summertime and in the wintertime. And so we have a sample video here if we can play that. Okay, thank you. If you could pause the video. Thanks. So you get the general idea. We won't sit through all of it, though the music is nice. We have over, I think, 20 or 22 videos or so for the summer, and then the same amount for the winter. And you can see there's sort of a extent map on the top right-hand side that'll show sort of the area where the drone is flying. And so we encourage folks to watch those when when desiring to. And then on that website, you can also sign up for email updates. And so we have that'll be more so of a public project announcement and project update email list. But we'll also have an email list kind of separate for specific questions to this later on in the presentation. And we have a QR code there. And I believe that's it for the Williamson Creek Wastewater Interceptor project. If you have questions, feel free to drop them into the chat, though we don't plan to answer those questions live here. We plan to sort of release any questions and answers publicly after the fact. But I think that's the end of the Williamson Creek Wastewater Interceptor project. Thank you.
Thanks, Kane. Thanks again. As stated at the beginning of the presentation, my name is Gabe Castano, and I'm a project manager with Capital Delivery Services, and I'm also the project manager for the McNeil Dry Water Transmission Main project. Steve Vargas, he's on the call, is the Austin Water project sponsor for this project. So just to remind all the viewers, these two projects that are being presented at this open house are separate and will be bid separately. But we're utilizing this time to make contractors aware of these two City of Austin opportunities that will be going out for bid soon. Next slide. So the McNeil Water Transmission Main project is located in the northwest area of the City of Austin, off US 183 and Palmer Lane. We're planning for the construction of 8,500 linear feet of 72-inch diameter pipe, either steel pipe or PCCP, constructed by tunneling methods with a one launch and one retrieval shaft. Currently, the project status is we're 100% complete with the design. We're just waiting for our general permit, so that way we can go to our financial services department to solicit this project. Next slide. So what is the project motivation? Well, this project will eliminate a constraint between the Hancock's Water Treatment Plant and the Martin Hill Reservoir that are located up there in the northwest area of the City of Austin. We're also going to be replacing a 36-inch pipeline between US 183 to Palmer Lane along McNeil Drive with a 72-inch pipeline. We will remove bottleneck issues and provide system improvements. And you can kind of see an aerial, a little red line that indicates where the tunneling will be occurring along McNeil Drive. Next slide. So here's a little bit closer look at that area. As I mentioned, you'll also notice that there's also been other tunneling projects that have occurred in this area. So this is not a new area to tunneling. We've done a lot of successful tunneling projects for Austin Water in the past several years. So this is a horizontal tunneling alignment within the City of Austin right-of-way along McNeil Drive. Contractors that would like to access this area can drive down McNeil Drive to take a look at it. And I'll have some more photos of the Jollyville Reservoir site in a second, but the constrained by the time locations is the Jollyville Reservoir site, which is on the west side there, and then the Martin Hill Transmission Main, which is a 54-inch pipeline there on Palmer Lane. And as I stated, there's 3 previous tunneling projects that surround the McNeil, future McNeil Water Transmission Main. Next slide. And here's an aerial of the Jollyville pump station right off US 183. You can see it. Obviously, we've had actually a tunneling project end at this location before. It was a former launch shaft site for the Jollyville transmission main. So you can drive by this location if you want to take a look at it. Next slide. And this is where the retrieval shaft will be off of Palmer Lane and McNeil Drive, the former retrieval shaft site for the Martin Hill transmission main 54-inch pipeline. Next slide. And this is where our proposed laydown yard is going to be. at the Martin Hill Reservoir site. It's owned by the city of Austin. It's approximately 1.7 acres that are available, and it's about a 30-minute drive from the laydown yard to the launch shaft. And you can look at this from Google Maps, or you can drive by this location as well. Next slide. So some construction considerations for this project. We're within the Edwards Aquifer Recharge Zone. This is an environmentally sensitive area. There will be groundwater mitigation methods and karst feature mitigation methods that will be required. There's restrictions at the retrieval shaft, McNeil Drive, and Palmer Lane intersection to mitigate traffic impacts. And the available launch site location is small and congested, so a laydown yard is being provided. And then also the small diameter piping connections at the tie-in locations. Next slide. So anticipated timeline. We anticipate this project going out for bidding and solicitation in the fall of 2024, right around the corner. So please keep your eyes, look out for this. And we're going to be using the competitive seal proposal method for this. And then we anticipate in spring of 2025, once we get through that bidding phase, notice of award, we'll have to obviously go through city council and so forth to award the contract. So we anticipate that early spring 2025, we'll be able to issue notice to proceed. Design and permitting, we're close to finishing that. It should be completed, the permitting at the beginning of the fall. Advertising should be ending around the spring 2025, and then construction starting around that time. Next slide. So as Kane mentioned earlier, we do have a project website for this project, the McNeil Drive Water Transmission Main, www.austintexas.gov/page McNeil Transmission Water Project. You can sign up for email updates at this location. You'll be able to download maps, get further contact information, and also the recording for this presentation will be posted here as well, so you can see it again if needed. So I encourage you to visit the project website that Austin Water has set up for this project. Next slide. So some other housekeeping tips. We encourage you to go to the City of Austin solicitation page. This will show you, this is how the city will advertise these projects. You can sign up for email reminders from the Financial Services Department when these projects come out through this website. Also, I encourage you to visit our vendor services webpage that the Financial Services Department has set up. This is where you can get information on how to participate on city projects. It talks about all the requirements, helpful hints on how to submit bids and how to do it electronically. So it has a lot of question and answers, hints and things of that nature that are really beneficial to contractors that have never done work with the City of Austin before and would like to learn how. Next slide. So as stated at the beginning of the presentation, we've actually created 2 email accounts for both of these projects. As you can see there's one for the McNeil one and then the other project. I encourage you, if you have any technical questions, to email these accounts. They will be reviewed and we will try to gather the information that you need and respond to them. We'll make sure that all the responses are sent out to all the contractors. If you logged into this meeting, we'll have a record of who was here, and that's how you will get a response to these questions. We'll also make sure that they're posted on our website. Keep in mind, these emails will only be open until July 31st, and then they will be closed. They will no longer work. During the bid solicitation phase, there'll be another opportunity to submit questions and things of that nature, and those will be handled through the Financial Services Department. But this the questions that we get through these two emails is just for a short period of time, just related to the open house. Next slide. And I want to thank you for your time this morning and for coming to this open house. We really are excited about the participation that we've received from all the contractors, and we look forward to getting bids and getting these projects successfully completed for the citizens of the city of Austin. Thank you very much for your time this morning.
Thank you.